temperature 56 with a southeast wind at 5 to 15. For tonight, partly cloudy skies, not quite as cool. Low temperature.
Hey, good morning.
41.
Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Great to have you along this morning.
59 degrees with a
Oh,
south
I'm
wind
feeling
at
so much
15 to
better than
30.
yesterday.
From the storm center.
And I just felt absolutely terrible yesterday. That shingle shot just kicked me in the butt yesterday. I feel much better today. All right, here we go.
The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense, no prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage Show.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's really great to have you along this morning on this Friday, November 15th. So Donald Trump making his cabinet picks. The most notable one yesterday was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. And Trump said, when he made the announcement, he said, for too long, Americans have been crushed by the industrial food complex and drug companies who have engaged in deception, misinformation, disinformation when it comes to public health. Interesting to hear Trump using the misinformation, disinformation, which the left is always using about, in describing Donald Trump. And Trump went on. So he said that he wants to, that Kennedy will restore these agencies to the traditions of gold standard scientific research and beacons of transparency to end the chronic disease epidemic and to make America great and healthy again, Trump said. So Kennedy then thanked Trump on X shortly after. And he said, together we will, now this is Kennedy speaking, together we will clean up corruption, stop the revolving door between industry and government, and return our health agencies to the rich tradition of gold standard evidence-based science. I will provide Americans with transparency and access to all the data so they can make informed choices for themselves and their families, Kennedy said. So there's and this goes on. A lot of this, I think, is background. I was trying to see if this is a story from Fox News as to whether or not there's. What do you think about this, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? I wasn't sure that Trump was actually going to appoint him as Secretary of Health and Human Services. I wasn't entirely sure that Trump would. So he has, that's a big story this morning. Matt Gaetz is continuing to be this is pretty incredible, because you have Senator John Thune becoming Senate Majority Leader, and then Donald Trump pitches a grenade into the tent by naming Matt Gaetz, as Attorney General, and it's like, oh wow, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now. I don't know that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I haven't seen a lot of reaction yet. I expect that we will, especially today. That announcement is still fairly new, so I expect we'll see, some reaction today. But for Senator John Thune, regardless of what you think about Senator Thune, it's like, congratulations, you're the new Senate Majority Leader, and oh, by the way, we're selecting Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Because there is a lot of reaction to the choice of Matt Gaetz. So Senator Thune was on Fox News Channel yesterday, visiting with Bret Baier on Special Report. And a lot of this, I think we have heard from Senator Thune over the course of the last few days. And he said, and this is important, I think, for you to keep in mind. It's some of the emails that I'm getting. Everybody wants to kick butts and take names. Are you familiar with Congress and how they operate? That's a different kind of beast. It's a different kind of beast. And so, I understand that. I think especially with the American people have been through a lot. And in this election, I know folks are pretty fired up and they want to be able to get going. When have you known Congress to act quickly? Has there ever been a point in your lifetime that you've known Congress to act incredibly quickly, forceful? It's just not. I just don't believe that's realistic, but we'll see. And this is what Senator Thune is talking about. He says all these people have a process that they have to go through. All these nominees are, he said, advice and consent. That's the Senate's constitutional role when it comes to confirmation of nominations to the executive branch. And he said, and we take that role seriously. But we are also not going to allow the Democrats to obstruct or block President Trump and the will of the American people. So Thune was asked about, by Brett Barry, was asked about using recess appointments in order to get Trump's picks through Senate confirmation if there are not enough votes. And Senator Thune said, well, it's an option, but obviously it takes, you have to have all Republicans vote to recess as well. So the same Republicans that you mentioned that might have a problem voting for somebody under regular order probably also have a problem voting to put the Senate into recess. You have to have concurrence from the House. So even if you have agreement in the Senate, which is unlikely, you also have to have the same thing in the House of Representatives. The likelihood of that happening, I just think, I understand folks are pretty fired up and they want to get rolling. But I think you and I have to understand exactly what Senator Thune is saying here. There is a process. This stuff, yeah, it sounds great. Sounds great. You see it on social media, but in practical reality of being able to implement that, Senator Thune, I think, points out some of the problems that you're going to have. So you're assuming then that every Republican is going to, vote to put the Senate into recess. What's the likelihood of that happening? So Senator Thune said there's a process. All this is a process, but I don't think any of those things are necessarily off the table. So he's keeping an open mind, but I think he's also pointing to the reality of, and you know what? I think that's probably helpful right now. At least that's my own perspective. Because I know some there, and I'm seeing this in emails, it's folks are just absolutely fired up and it's like, which I appreciate, I appreciate the enthusiasm. I don't know that you're being realistic about what it means to be able to be a member of Congress. And that's an incredibly difficult position whether you're in the Senate or the House. So Senator Thune said, I think we have to have all the options on the table, and these nominees deserve their day in court. They deserve a hearing, a confirmation hearing, an opportunity to be vetted, and the Senate will perform its constitutional role, he said, under advice and consent. And then he went on to say about not allowing the Democrats to thwart the will of the American people in giving President Trump the people that he wants in those positions to implement his agenda, Thune said. And he said the people in this country want change. He wants to bring that about. And I always believe that you defer to a president when it comes to the people they want in their cabinet. But obviously, there is a process whereby we get down and scrub all these nominees and figure out whether or not, one, they're qualified, and are they people who are fit to hold these offices, which is, I think, makes a lot of sense. So you're seeing already now, when it comes to Matt Gaetz as Secretary of Defense, Senator Ted Cruz. And this is a piece from the Washington Examiner. He said that Matt Gaetz faces a tough Senate confirmation hearing. And Cruz said, we'll assess the nominee on the merits, but there is a process that will unfold. Are you picking up any similarities between the comments of Senator Thune on Fox News Channel last night and Senator Cruz about a process unfolding? Cruz said the process examines a particular nominee's background, their experience, and their suitability for a role. So Cruz is not coming out and say, oh, yeah, I'm absolutely behind Matt Gaetz. You get a few people that are doing that. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke incredibly well of Matt Gaetz yesterday. But you got a lot of people pushing back on Gaetz. Remember, Kevin McCarthy, it was Matt Gaetz who caused a lot of frustration for Kevin McCarthy when he was Speaker of the House. And McCarthy did an interview with Bloomberg on Wednesday, and he said Gaetz won't get confirmed. Everybody knows that, he said. And he says that Gaetz couldn't win in a Republican conference. So again now, Kevin McCarthy certainly is a guy that has knows the Republican conference. So McCarthy said, you can talk to the president, but it's a good deflection from others. And then he stopped himself. He says, I'll let it stand at that. Deflection. That's the question. And there are several people that are saying that Donald Trump may be playing 4D chess. In other words, Donald Trump maybe moves ahead of everybody else with these nominations rather than, you get a lot of people reacting to the nomination of Matt Gaetz on an emotional level, immediate kind of, and that Donald Trump actually may be way ahead of them. There's an interesting piece at Newsmax this morning. Hugh Hewitt talked about this on his radio show. And he's not a fan of Matt Gaetz. And he said this is interesting, this Matt Gaetz and his resignation from the House of Representatives. There was an ethics investigation then involving Matt Gaetz in the House. So an ethics investigation, and then he suddenly is named and withdraws. So we don't see the investigation. We don't see the final report. The investigation's already taken place. So he resigns. So you and I don't see the final report. Well, guess what? If you are going to be the Attorney General of the United States, you're going to go through, Senate confirmation hearings. That information is all going to be coming out. So I think this is really important to keep in mind. So is that people are wondering, was the selection of Matt Gaetz designed to be knowing that Matt Gaetz is not going to be the next Attorney General of the United States? Now, this is what some are saying. I'm not supposing this, but what is Donald Trump choosing Gaetz? That information comes out, and it becomes clear then that he cannot be the Attorney General of the United States. And then, does it take the heat off Donald Trump's other nominees? Some of them are controversial, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I mentioned earlier. So it really, and I also thought about Pete Hegseth, who I thought was a great choice as defense secretary. So suddenly you mention Matt Gaetz' name, and everybody's going in a tizzy, and nobody's worried about Pete Hegseth. And you know what I mean? Will it make it easier then for Donald Trump to get his other nominees through? I think it's a fair question to ask, because it would not be the first time that I think Donald Trump has been way out in front of everybody else. Also, Trump yesterday nominated North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum to serve as Secretary of the Interior. So not only is South Dakota losing its governor and Kristi Noem with the Department of Homeland Security, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum will serve as the Secretary of Interior. So you remember Burgum. It was clear that Donald Trump and Burgum had a pretty good relationship, even though Burgum had run for president, and I didn't find that to be a surprise. I thought we would see Doug Burgum in some position. Pretty fascinating story with Tom Homan. This is from Newsmax this morning. Tom Homan, who will be Donald Trump's border czar, told Newsmax yesterday that illegal immigrants in this country are not law-abiding. And also because you had some of these governors and mayors who were saying, these sanctuary states, sanctuary cities, Holman had a message for a lot of these people. And he spoke directly to, they were talking about these gangs like Tren de Aragua and MS-13. And Holman said, my gang is bigger than your gang. And he was talking about, he took aim at Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Pritzker said this week the county jails, state prisons are not going to help the federal government rounding up and deporting the state's law-abiding illegals. How are you a law-abiding illegal? You have not come into the country legally. How do you? This is just insane. But Holman, I loved his response. He said, "Now, what does that mean?" It means Pritzker is hurting these people even more because we're going to arrest them regardless of what he says. If we have to take them out of state, away from their families, away from their attorneys, that's exactly what we're going to do. And using the term citizens and law-abiding, let me remind him, you crossed the border illegally, it is a crime, he said. Every illegal alien in this country who entered this country illegally is a criminal by definition. If they're deported and came back, it's a felony. So they're not law-abiding. They broke the law coming to the United States, and we're going to find them and we're going to deport them, he said. Wow. There's also a story at Newsmax. They say thousands of immigration and customs enforcement officials are being moved back to the field in order to fulfill the promises made by Trump. So it's unknown how many law enforcement personnel will be reassigned because they've been on desk duty New York Post reported this yesterday. So already you're seeing then some that are being reassigned from desk duty, and that was the Biden administration. These people literally had their hands cuffed, just unable to do their jobs. And so some of them are already now returning to the field. Sources at ICE said that rank and file members are excited to be catching criminals that Biden let roam freely in the country for the last 4 years without any consequences. One told the Post they can't wait to get back onto the streets, while another said he hasn't had any experience making arrests for ICE, but his experience with Customs and Border Patrol will make it easy. And then Holman putting sanctuary cities on notice. He's been doing that in every interview he has. He says, if they're not willing to do it and then get out of the way, we're coming, he said. So if I have to flood agents to the sanctuary cities to get the job done, then that's what we're going to do, says Tom Holman. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Also, what's going on at FEMA? I think a lot of people are asking this question. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody has now filed a lawsuit against 2 FEMA officials and saying that they were engaged in discriminatory practices. And this is regarding this former FEMA supervisor who was fired from FEMA because the reports were, and the firing was that she was not, homes that had Donald Trump signs, Trump for re-election, they would skip over those. And so she was fired. Now she has been out there making her case, and it seems to now be getting worse. You got Florida filing a lawsuit in this case, and we'll talk about that in more detail later this morning. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. 627, mostly cloudy and 38. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weeknights 5 to 8. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires. See in-store details about how to...
Oh, I feel so much better than yesterday. I mean, yesterday was just... It was not good. I mean, I wound up going home and I tried to sleep, and normally I don't have any trouble sleeping. Oh, I woke up. I just couldn't. And I just felt awful. But today I feel pretty good.
605-764-9517 for your free estimate. For a whole in-ear roof or for a whole new roof, give us a call. 605-764-9517.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
Slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pegol is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. The concentrated
is
perfect for making your auto, RV,
oh no, there we go.
and
Okay.
other sporting equipment look like new again. Visit us at simplegreen.com.
6:30, mostly cloudy and 32 at Kello. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, lawmakers in Pierre deal with the news that revenues are down in South Dakota. Joe will have details on those stories and more coming up for you here shortly. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello. There we go.
Donald Trump nominating Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to make America healthy again as the Health and Human Services Secretary.
Kennedy's priorities include overhauling food production to ban pesticides and genetically modified organisms, cracking down on food chemicals, and re-examining vaccine approvals. Some public health officials have raised alarm about his views on vaccination, which are likely to be scrutinized during the confirmation process.
Fox's Madeline Rivera, incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune.
The Senate will perform its constitutional role under advice and consent, but we are not going to allow the Democrats to thwart the will of the American people in giving President Trump the people that he wants in those positions.
At a Mar-a-Lago gala last night, Trump also announced North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum for Interior Secretary and former Congressman Doug Collins to lead the VA. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. Big news for our neighbors to the north. President-elect Trump says he'll pick Governor Doug Burgum to be Secretary of the Interior. Trump made the announcement yesterday while speaking at Mar-a-Lago for an America First Policy Institute event. Burgum says he's honored and excited to serve. Trump says he'll officially nominate Burgum for the position today. South Dakota just finished another quarter of its fiscal year, and the legislature's Appropriations Committee was informed yesterday that revenues are down. Derek Johnson of the Bureau of Finance and Management says the budget assumed 3% growth.
Year to date, our sales tax collections are actually down year over year, so we're currently missing that estimate by about 4.2%.
The farm economy is down sharply, as witnessed by decreased tax revenues from farm equipment sales.
Now, for this fiscal year 2025, through 4 months, estimated it's down about 20.2% from fiscal year 2024.
All told, sales tax revenues are down 5.9%. Governor Noem will present her budget to legislators next month. The city of Brookings, home to South Dakota State University, is the second most affordable college town in the U.S. That's according to financial site Wallet Hub. In their 2025 Best College Towns in America survey, they looked at factors including housing costs, cost of higher education, and student loan debt per person. And in sports yesterday, the Sioux Falls Sky Force defeated the Cleveland Charge 107-100. In college basketball, South Dakota State lost to Northern Colorado 78-69, and South Dakota crushed Dakota Wesleyan 92-69. Tomorrow, in college football, number 3 South Dakota State hosts Southern Illinois, and number 5 South Dakota takes on North Dakota. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9. News brought to you by Sioux Falls Implant and Sedation Dentistry. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Becoming partly sunny today as areas of dense fog lift. Our high temperature 56, a southeast wind at 5 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low near 41. Tomorrow, a little warmer as south winds kick up at 15 to 30. High temperature close to 60. We're still in the 50s on Sunday. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
The place to go when you need to know. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9 and Kello.com.
There's a new online scam that's both dangerous and so easily avoided. In fact, all you have to do is Kim Commando for MediShare. Get a high-quality healthcare plan while saving money by calling 833-SHARE-44. That's 833-SHARE-44. The FBI is warning Americans to look out for email containing real-looking but completely phony arrest warrants, subpoenas, court orders, and even an IRS notification that your bank account was seized. Of course, along with the email is a phone number for you to call. And that's where the criminals step in. They answer the call, not the police. And naturally, they're going to tell you that the only way out of this legal mess is to give them money over the phone right now, or the police will be on the way. Okay, none of these look-alike legal documents are real. It's all phony. Neither the FBI, the IRS, the local police, nor any other law enforcement will ever call you. Just delete the email. You're not in trouble. Sign up for my free newsletter at getkim.com.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing, if you join before November 15th, and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is November 15th. So call now, you'll save even more. Here's the number, 833-SHARE-44. That's 833-SH.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires, your Give You More tire and automotive store. Financing programs available, 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Looking for laughs? Royal River Casino has them in spades. Comedian and internet sensation Ginger Billy is bringing down the house on Saturday, January 11th.
That sounds what kind of bug is that? Thing looks like a pterodactyl.
He's sharing his thoughts on rompers, gnats, hot summer days, and more. Doors open at 6 p.m. and the show starts at 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale now, starting at $30. Get them before they're gone. That's Ginger Billy, live at Royal River Casino, Saturday, January 11th. Must be 21.
Living with less pain means living at your best. But an action-packed life can wear your body down. Avera Orthopedics keeps you moving with total joint replacements for pain you don't have to live with. Find relief with the region's largest orthopedic physician team of specialized surgeons. Moving forward. Avera, moving health forward. Learn more at avera.org/totaljoint.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Okay, some mornings you might not have that get up and go.
But at least you can get up
That's
and
right.
go.
The Greg Belfrage Show, with insightful opinions on the latest stories and frequent weather updates. It'll get you in the know while you're getting ready to go. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9. Entertaining talk and news when it happens.
.39, mostly cloudy and 32. Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. And want to congratulate those who won tickets to see Jim Brickman at the Washington Pavilion coming up this Sunday. Dee Heeb, John Decker, Joe Hickman, Sonia Bowen, among our many winners. So have a great time at the concert coming up Sunday. So if you would like to see Jim Brickman, comfort and joy is the theme of his Christmas concert this year. So you can find more information and purchase your tickets at washingtonpavilion.org. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
All right, Donald Trump has selected Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be his Department of Health and Human Services secretary. I don't think that's a big surprise that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had pulled out of the presidential race through his support behind Donald Trump. So Trump yesterday announced the selection, and he said the safety and health of all Americans is the most important role of any administration. And he says health and human services will play a big role in helping ensure that everybody will be protected from harmful chemicals, pollutants, pesticides, pharmaceutical products, and food additives that have contributed to the overwhelming health crisis in this country, Trump said. So a lot of praise for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Also, there's concern over Trump's selection of Matt Gaetz as the next Attorney General. And there is a piece, this is a piece from Newsmax. There are a number of stories on this trending. And there are at least 5 Republican senators, says Newsmax, who have at times broken from Trump then to come out against the nomination of Matt Gaetz. Senator John Cornyn of Texas said yesterday he wants to review the House Ethics Report on Gaetz. So that's an investigation that was, went out the window when Gaetz abruptly resigned. You don't usually see that. It's like, what was going on with Matt Gaetz' sudden resignation then from Congress? Because you could remain a member of Congress while, you work your way through, and then if you don't secure the nomination, you'd still have your seat in Congress. So there very likely to be some pushback to the nomination of Matt Gaetz. Also, Trump has named his personal criminal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, as Deputy Attorney General. And Trump said Todd is an excellent attorney who will be a crucial leader in the Justice Department, fixing what has been a broken system of justice for far too long, Trump said. Todd is going to do a great job as we make America great again. Trump, now there's several other stories, and I think some of these names probably may not be familiar to you. Trump has also nominated former U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Jay Clayton to be Manhattan's top federal prosecutor yesterday. So Clayton is a lawyer who is specialized in mergers and capital raising. He is a political independent and developed a reputation at the SEC for forging consensus with the Democratic commissioners at the agency. Also, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has congratulated, he reached out to those Floridians who have been appointed to key positions in the Trump administration, Senator Marco Rubio, Congressman Matt Gaetz, and Congressman Mike Waltz. DeSantis said it in a post on X. He said, I've instructed Secretary of State Cord Byrd to formulate and announce a schedule for the upcoming special elections immediately. So Marco Rubio is likely to be just a breeze through his Senate confirmation hearings. Also, Special Counsel Jack Smith asked a court on Wednesday to pause prosecutors' appeal seeking to revive the classified documents case against Donald Trump. Now that Trump has won the election, so Smith's team has been evaluating how to wind down their case before Trump takes office, because the longstanding Justice Department policy says that sitting presidents cannot be prosecuted. So what's going to wind up happening with that? And we've yet to see Trump has already been found guilty of state charges with Judge Juan Merchan, and we haven't seen in what direction that may go. Also, other stories that are trending. President Biden will meet with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping coming up tomorrow, according to White House officials. And Reuters says Beijing preparing for a potentially more confrontational period with Washington under Donald Trump. So the two leaders are expected to talk regarding tensions between Washington and Beijing and a number of other things. Other stories trending this morning. The Onion was the highest bidder for Alex Jones InfoWars. There was a bankruptcy auction that took place yesterday, and it was backed by families of Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting victims. The Jones owes them more than $1 billion in defamation judgments. So the purchase would turn over Jones' company to the Onion. They plan to relaunch the platform in January as a parody. Watch their traffic fall right through the floor. And so there's reaction from Alex Jones regarding this. And also trending this morning, the UK's Guardian newspaper has quit X. And this is pretty crazy. So they've quit X. They're X and their far-right conspiracy theories and racism that you see on X. So the left-wing Guardian, have you ever read the Guardian? I mean, wow, it is like really unsettling. It is just like left-wing, just crazy talk. So now they're just making a big deal out of leaving X. And the reaction from Elon Musk cracked me up. He said, they are a laboriously vile propaganda machine. Very well said by Elon Musk. Also, some of these stories that wind up trending ought to be Looney Tunes in the news. I mean, seriously. You got Representative Dan Goldman of New York saying he's going to introduce a resolution that will reaffirm Congress's commitment and the Constitution's clear definition that prohibits any president from serving more than 2 terms. Now, Donald Trump has joked about this. And this is what's so absolutely incredible. So you got this Dan Goldman in New York say, they always say he's joking. It's always Trump being Trump, or he's just joking, but this is his MO. He will drop in something out. These people are just nuts. I mean, seriously. This is so a resolution. You know how much authority any resolution has? Zippo. Basically, it's more of a sense of the excuse me, sneeze. I fear I got another one coming here. But it's just crazy. This, the insanity is going to continue. Speaking of that, you got a number of people who are saying they're leaving X. I should have grouped these stories. They say they're leaving X because of Donald Trump's victory. Don Lemon, Jamie Lee Curtis, they don't want anything to do with X. Now that Elon Musk was out there campaigning for Trump and Donald Trump wins, and so now they want to get off of X. And I saw a great piece on, and Don Lemon made a big deal of it and explaining why, as if anybody cares, right? I mean, okay, you're making a decision to leave X, right? Do that. That's absolutely your right. Who cares? You're out there explaining the reason why you're leaving X. Oh man, these people are lost. I mean, they just so far from even just Don Lemon. It just gets worse with Don Lemon. Also, the president has announced over $1.4 billion in funding for climate change initiatives. Isn't that interesting? So he's on his way out, right? But not before we spend $1.4 billion on climate change. That is just absolutely, jaw-dropping. Then you've got the Biden administration seeking to triple nuclear capacity by 2050. They unveiled this on Tuesday. They want to triple, trying to reach their net zero emissions goal. And so they're just doing stuff as fast as they can. You got to believe that Donald Trump will just wipe all of this, just sweep this right off the, like you brush crumbs off your face, Also, Jeff Bezos is selling $214 million worth of Amazon shares in one of his latest stock moves. So he's selling off a significant chunk of his shares of Amazon, according to a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. So he recently divested over 1 million shares of Amazon, raking at about nearly $214 million. So this transaction leaves Bezos with $926 million shares, $926 million in shares of Amazon. Wow. Can you imagine that? That is. Other stories that are trending this morning. Melania Trump may not move to the White House full time, according to her report. So she intends to divide her time between New York City, where their son attends school, and Palm Beach, Florida. And according to CNN, discussions are ongoing regarding how she will manage her role as First Lady, which is, of course, an unelected role. So despite this, Melania is still expected to attend major events, as well as official duties in Washington, D.C. So she will be there, but she will not be moving to the White House full time. Also, a Pennsylvania Senate race moved to a recount then this week. This is the race between Senator-elect Dave McCormick. He continues to hold the lead over incumbent Senator Bob Casey. And so the results in the race triggered a legally required statewide recount, and that's what they're doing. Also, Nick Fuentes. If you know who he is, Nick Fuentes, a woman showed up at his home in Illinois on Sunday, unannounced, after he was doxxed online. And this woman said in a now deleted Facebook post that she was about to ring his doorbell when he opened the door, sprayed her with a liquid, took her phone, pushed her down the steps, and went back inside. And now she's not responding for a comment. So she shared a video of the altercation this week on Facebook. And Fuentes opens the door, points what appears to be a spraying device toward the camera. And the person holding the camera says, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And the camera gets knocked around, and Fuentes says, "Get the blank out of here." He grabs the phone, takes it inside the house, locks the door, and then the video abruptly ends. Also, the Pentagon's latest report on unidentified aerial phenomena, commonly known as UFOs. This new report covers hundreds of new phenomena, but they're finding no extraterrestrial origins. And it includes cases of misidentified everyday objects and a number of other things. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Quench your thirst for information at the Kello Water Cooler. Kello, News Talk 1320 107.
All right, forgive me. I'm going to end really abruptly because I got to perform an EAS test, so forgive me. Hope to see you at 9:30. And please return on Monday.
Go through all these basements and tear out sheetrock.